They're doing it.
Exactly.
Okay, so 100 years ago, also today, or maybe recently, or soon to be, Studs Terkel was born. What is the actual birth date of Studs Terkel?
May 16th, 1912.
The same birthday as my brother.
A month ago, we got all these relatives having birthdays and stuff. Okay, so 100 years and 1 month ago.
We actually sang happy birthday to Studs Terkel here on his 85th birthday when we had him on the show.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
So
I don't
it was
think we
a
have
nice
video
moment.
of that. We do, and we're looking for the recording of that. We do have still pictures and a translation
It's back in the
that was printed in the
prehistoric era.
Heartland Journal. So we have Sarah Chapman and Tom Weinberg.
Welcome, you two.
And we're glad to have you both.
Thank you.
We're going to do this. You
Yes.
get the mics. Katie,
Yep.
you and I will share that.
We're sharing a mic. So if you guys hug up close. Sarah, let's start with you. What is it you're doing, and how does it relate to honoring the 100th anniversary of Studs Terkel?
Well, Tom and I run an archive called the Media Burn Independent Video Archive in Chicago. We're located on the northwest side, and we have a large collection of documentaries produced by Chicagoans, a lot of them about Chicago, and a large portion of this collection documents Studs Terkel. He donated, we have about 300 tapes documenting Studs, and he donated about half of them, and about half of them come from the work of Tom Weinberg, who's sitting next to me, and who is a TV and video producer. And we partnered, since this year is the centenary of Studs' birth, we partnered with the Studs Terkel Centenary Committee to present a film and video festival, which we've been doing this month. The third event will be on this Sunday at the Chicago Cultural Center.
Tomorrow.
Right, tomorrow, from 2 to 8. And we've been presenting rare materials from our collection.
17th.
June 17th, yes. Rare materials from our collection to the public. It's all sorts of stuff people have never seen before. The best of Studs from the 40s through his death. So,
Tom, what is it? How did you hook up she said, and Tom, what he did. What is your approach to all this archival gathering of stuff? Technical terms, all of the above.
That's cool. We got a lot of videotapes in a room on Irving Park Road. Maybe 6,000 or 7,000 of them, kind of stashed away from the years when video first started, which is some of the years even before. Well, anyway, a long time ago, Michael. From the 70s when video first started. So we have all these videotapes. Two things had to happen. One is they had to be preserved so that they wouldn't go away because they wouldn't fall apart. And two is because of the internet, we could get them out there for the world to see. So people, the next generation of people like Sarah came along and knew how to figure out how to do that. We raised a little money, and now we've got, about 2,500 videos online. We've got a whole system for doing it. It's all free. People use it in schools. They use it just to get off themselves.
right, they're streaming at mediaburn.org.
And what's the name of the outfit? Media Burn?
Mediaburn.org. MEDIABURN.org.
And you are inspiration to our own videographer, Paul Wozniak. Because he's sending me all kind of emails about potential stuff to look at in your collections.
Cool.
I do have one question. I don't think it's videotaped, but since we're talking Studs Terkel,
Sure.
Long before we had Studs on the radio show, when I was still closer to having been a rising up angry guy and an early Heartland guy, Studs did an interview with me. And I was in a little bit of a spiritual mode at the time. I was trying to, mix healthy food and spirituality.
The week you did Est?
No, that was that was way earlier. Back when someone told me I had a big aura, I said, it probably looks like Swiss cheese. But he was.
I remember you then.
He was great, and at the end of the interview, he gave me a $10 bill or a $20 bill or something, and I was blown away. But I don't think it's ever been used, and I'm trying to track it down to see how far off my thinking might have been at the time. No info, huh?
Well, Studs did what he cared about, and he acted on it. And that's one of the things that made him an inspiration. Still makes him an inspiration for us, for all of us.
Yeah.
He was a remarkable guy. I mean, in so many ways.
How did you meet Studs, Tom?
Well, funny you should ask.
Did you guys talk to each other before the show?
You know all of them. How did I?
No, I want to know how you met him.
Well, you see Judy Hoffman over there who's in the room. Judy.
I thought Judy was coming on the show, but she said, no, I'm just eating the breakfast.
Film and video people and teachers in Chicagoland. Judy and I and a woman named Anda Korst, whom you probably remember.
I do.
Started a project, and we didn't call them projects then. We were making a video that was based on Studs Terkel's book, Working. We
right.
thought, well, listen, he did this. He figured out how to get regular people to talk to a microphone. Let's us try it with video, which was brand new, essentially.
That's something like we do every week here.
Really?
No, go ahead.
So out of that came an hour of TV where we asked people, what do you do all day, and their work, and how do you feel about it? Well, we did interviews with lots of people, one of whom was Studs, because we wanted to turn the table on him a little bit. And what happened is that was, what year? It was like 74?
74, 75, yeah.
You know, and so that was the first time I met him, and I kind of met him a lot after that for the next 40 years.
I had students who actually worked with Studs in the archives at what was then the Historical Society, where he hung out for many years, right?
Right.
I mean, he archived a passel load of stuff.
Yeah, he had a lot of lunch there, too.
Yeah.
Well, I have to confess that in the e-news we sent out yesterday, his name was spelled incorrectly.
Ay.
But if you want to get that in e-news
hard
on
can
a
it
regular
be?
basis, go to heartlandcafe.com, and there's a place to sign up. So you will get all the information about this radio show, food that we're serving here at the Heartland, drinks coming up, bands, etc., etc.
Sarah, how did you get involved with this?
Well, actually, Judy is the key in this again. I was a student of Judy's at the University of Chicago about 10 years ago, and Judy was showing all these really exciting guerrilla television videos. People like Judy and Tom were going around. They picked up these portable video cameras, and they were saying, like, hey, we're going to make a new kind of TV, which didn't exactly happen except on a limited basis, which is basically the stuff that's collected in our archive. But so Judy got me very interested in this. I met Tom, and Tom was saying, like, I got a room full of tapes, I want to preserve them, and I just kind of ended up coming around and turned it into an archive, and we've been doing it for 9 years now.
Wow.
Built it up. We got a lot of big grants and recognition, and it's a pretty important archive at this
And
point.
people can see a big chunk of these videos if they go to mediaburn.org.
Yep, they're all streaming for free, and
They can stay busy for
100 years.
about,
Yes.
what do you think, 4 weeks, 5 weeks?
at least much more than that.
24/7?
I gotta jump in here too.
Okay, we got Judy Hoffman, Judith
Ju-
Hoffman. We're
Welcome,
glad to
Judith.
have
jump
you.
in. What I think what Sarah took away from my class is something that I teach, which has to do with the Port Huron statement. Are you familiar with?
Yeah, we're slightly
Yeah, it's
familiar
actually
with the
50 years
Port
ago today, and
Huron.
there actually is a conference going on in Ann Arbor this weekend
To mark
talk
it.
about it. But most of the people who were involved with the Port Huron statement weren't making it to the conference. Everyone wanted to be kept in tune with it, but they weren't coming to Ann Arbor.
Some of the same philosophy and analysis in the Port Huron statement trickled through to media, and in fact is very similar to guerrilla television ideology. So it's not your typical videos that you see.
Give me a quick def of guerrilla television.
Well, a quick would be to really question who makes television, for what reasons, in what settings, and what kinds of information. How is knowledge produced? And it is essentially television as we consume it is produced for to keep people oppressed.
Yeah,
essentially.
keep them from knowing too much.
Keep them from knowing too much.
primarily to sell stuff.
Yeah, it's a
the commercial-
sales meeting. And we end up becoming the products. We're the ones who get worked on.
They've been very effective.
Yeah.
I mean-
So what we were doing in guerrilla television was something very different that somehow aligned with what Studs Terkel did and was doing, which is really trying to find out how the process of how things worked underneath the surface as well as on the surface. So our relationship with Studs really came out of Tom and Dovetail. Tom is, in a sense, our generation's Studs, because he has this archive like Studs has his archive. So.
Cool.
Well, I hope he invites us on his show sooner or later.
I think you've been on the show. I think Rising Up Angry was on Image Union once.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. I don't know that.
I
but
think
that
it
would be
was.
Great.
Yeah.
That's talking about
Is Image
blast from
Union
the
one
past.
of your shows?
AR2.
Yeah, American Revolution
Yeah.
2.
But in the shows, you're going to see Studs with Nelson Algren. There are lots of things that happened in our video group where Studs would fall by, and we would just videotape his chatting with quite remarkable Chicagoans, from famous people like Algren to people like Sedlowski at Sedlowski, labor people. So I think if you look at Media Burn, you see a collection from people in Studs' kind of intellectual league to people in the intellectual league who go undiscovered, like garbage collectors.
Yeah.
Who still have
Who have a lot to say this
a
week.
lot to say.
The screening tomorrow is from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at night, it's all different. There's no.
Where is it going to be?
It's at the Cultural Center at the Claudia Cassidy Theater, and you can walk in and walk out
It's free.
anytime you want, and it's free.
Yeah.
So
The one thing I was thinking of when Judy was saying people just kind of wandered in. There's a relative, how long would you say, Sarah? About 5 minutes with Studs and Nelson Algren, where it was the day that Algren was leaving to go to Paterson, New Jersey, or the day after he was about to leave. And there's a piece with him and Studs kind of doing shtick. That's all I could say. And Algren is just Dada. He was unbelievable. He was wonderful, and Studs was just laughing, and it's just a lovely moment of how these guys, these
salty old dudes.
they were icons. What are they? They're people who we can idolize in certain ways and learn from in lots of ways. How they behaved when they were just being rather than performing.
Well, that's a real treasure. That is a real treasure.
Right, in that compilation we put together the best of Studs, where Tom and I and others pulled the best little clips from our archive. We have all these tapes, and some of them have just these moments that are just perfect. We pulled all those together, and that's edited together for a show at 5:15 at the Cultural Center. And afterwards, a bunch of Studs colleagues and friends are going to speak, like Lois Baum, Tony Judge, Tom, a few others. So that is definitely the highlight of the day. If anyone is interested in a specific part of it, that's at 5:15.
That's tomorrow at the Cultural Center. Part of a day that goes from 2 p.m. till 8 or 9 p.m.
8, yeah.
And the part to not miss, if you're thinking of a part to go to, starts at 5:15. That's terrific.
But there's great programming all day.
Let me ask the three of you in our remaining moments of this segment, what you each think is the most important thing about Studs Terkel and what he has done for humanity. How's that?
Just a little light.
Judy, you go first. You're the professor at the UFC.
I think he was Ida. I think that was what was the most important thing.
Okay, we got one.
Studs was a leftist. He was always rooting for people who deserve to have power. So I think that he's beyond description in that was an archivist. He's